Viral video, Beijing girl urges everyone across the nation to stand up in street appeal. Breaking, third plenary session stalls over Rocket Army case involving Jiang Zemin's son. Shanghai Spring Expo fails. Why does she still grapple with the rise in the East, decline in the West? Delusion. Mainland epidemic heats up again. CCP launches urban wastewater COVID-19 testing training. It's all covered in today's China Truths. Viral video, Beijing girl urges everyone across the nation to stand up in street appeal. On March 11th, a compelling video from Beijing went viral on the X platform, showing an unnamed young woman's passionate plea for national unity and rejuvenation just before the CCP's 2 sessions. She urged citizens of all ethnicities to stand up for the Chinese nation's revival. The video, subtitled to have been recorded near Beijing Jinqi Inlay Company, Limited in Chaoyang District at 14:51 on February 29th, shows a busy street scene with many seemingly supportive bystanders. The woman's voice, clear and determined, calls for adherence to the principle that all power belongs to the people, as per the Constitution. She encouraged active participation in defending the Constitution, highlighting the paradox of its existence versus the potential for criminal charges when discussing its contents under Chinese Communist Party rule. She referenced specific articles to underscore the people's sovereignty, the duty of state officials to serve the public, and the right to critique the government without fear of retaliation. She criticized the superficial commitment to legal governance, pointing out that without genuine enforcement, it remains mere rhetoric. With fervor, the girl declared, "Citizens of all ethnicities within our borders must confront and halt the malicious acts of rights violations, assault, exploitation, and suppression, as part of a significant movement. For the rejuvenation of the Chinese nation, it's imperative that everyone stands up, embodying a sense of personal agency, and takes part in a significant campaign against these injustices." Throughout her demonstration, police officers were seen casually patrolling the area, with occasional attempts to dissuade her from continuing her protest heard in the background. Some netizens expressed their deep respect, calling out, "A salute to the courageous woman," wishing for millions to rise in solidarity. Others shared sympathy for the plight of the Chinese populace, noting, "Examine your ID closely, you're considered merely a resident, not one of the people." Long-standing grievances have shadowed the CCP's strict rule, with acts of public dissent occurring around the recently concluded 2 sessions. As previously reported, on March 10th, during a particularly tense moment, a black sedan charging towards the main entrance of Shanghai, only for the driver to be swiftly encircled and aggressively detained by security forces, in an area alarmingly close to the office of Xi Jinping, the CCP's national chairman. The detained individual was heard yelling accusations against the Communist Party as murderers. In another incident on February 29th in front of the Xidan Zhongyo department store in Beijing, a man used a megaphone to speak out as numerous individuals held banners demanding that officials disclose their assets. The speaker criticized the police for forcibly evicting citizens from their homes, accusing them of serving their own interests rather than the public's. When police moved in to confiscate the banners and arrest the protesters, a sizable crowd of onlookers pushed back, questioning the validity of the police's actions and the reasons for the arrests. As previously reported, recently, a source with deep insight into China's current affairs spoke to Pierre-Antoine Donnet, the former head of Agence France-Presse's central editorial department. The source described China as being in a critical state, resembling a pressure cooker on the verge of exploding. They noted a significant trend: individuals ranging from deputy ministers to high-ranking officials' children, commonly referred to as the princes of the Red Second Generation, are either leaving China or planning to do so. This exodus reflects a growing disillusionment among the elite. Additionally, wealthy individuals are increasingly avoiding banks for storing their assets, indicating a broad loss of confidence in the country's financial institutions. Breaking, third plenary session stalls over Rocket Army case involving Jiang Zemin's son. The CCP has concluded its 2 sessions, but the third plenum remains on hold. Mr. Yuan Hongbing, a liberal scholar based in Australia with insights into the CCP, recently revealed that the delay is due to corruption within the CCP military, specifically involving Jiang Mianheng, the son of former CCP leader Jiang Zemin. Last year, Zhu Qiansheng, the Strategic Support Force commander, disappeared for nearly 6 months amid investigation rumors. Simultaneously, Liu Chao, the Rocket Force commander, and Su Zhongbo, the political commissar, were both dismissed. However, both Su and Zhu resurfaced unexpectedly at this year's 2 sessions. Mr. Yuan Hongbing informed the Epoch Times on March 12 that Zhu Qiansheng and Su Zhongbo admitted to a betrayal involving the current party leader, directly linked to Jiang Mianheng. Mr. Yuan stated that the Central Commission for Discipline Inspection considers these individuals to be part of a political faction allied with Jiang Mianheng. They are accused of economic corruption, power for money deals, and openly criticizing Xi Jinping's leadership in private gatherings. Yuan contends that the issue has escalated from corruption within the Xi family's military to the formation of a political gang. The delay in revealing the case, according to Mr. Yuan, is due to the expanding scope of the investigation and Xi Jinping's hesitation to use the findings to eliminate Jiang Zemin's influence entirely. Consequently, high-profile figures like Li Shangfu and Qin Gang remain undisclosed, and the third plenum is postponed. The scholar also observes that the Rocket Force case has led to the realization that the Xi family's army's absolute loyalty is a myth. Therefore, according to him, this situation represents the most significant threat Xi Jinping currently faces. Shanghai Spring Expo fails. Why does she still grapple with the rise in the East, decline in the West delusion? The 2024 China Consumer Goods Fair, CCF, in Shanghai ended with an unexpected downturn. From March 7 to 9, the China Consumer Goods Fair, CCF, at the Shanghai New International Expo Center was anticipated to outdo its previous year with extensive marketing and partnerships across media. Promoted as the leading event for the daily consumer goods sector, it aimed to span 100,000 square meters, welcoming over 1,200 companies, 5,000 plus brands, 80,000 plus professional visitors. However, reality fell short of expectations. Videos from attendees showed a sparse and quiet fair, a significant drop in exhibitors, and about a third of the space unused. An attendee expressed disappointment, noting the fair's decline from its previously vibrant state to large empty areas from halls W1 to W5. This downturn has led to calls for a reassessment of the fair's worth, highlighting the puzzling disappearance of participants and visitors. The lukewarm response to the Shanghai Spring Expo is indicative of China's broader economic challenges and diminishing consumer confidence, a reality that the CCP's ban on negative economic talk cannot hide. Xi Jinping still stuck in East rising, West falling myth amid China's economic slump. Amid China's economic downturn, Xi Jinping's steadfast belief in the rise of the East, decline of the West raises questions, especially in light of a 5% economic growth target announced at the 2 sessions, which many view as potentially unrealistic. This ambition persists despite evident economic challenges, a shrinking and aging population, and the United States' advancements in artificial intelligence. On March 11, a report from the New York Times suggests that Xi Jinping's claim might be seen as either prematurely optimistic or an indication of overconfidence. This perspective is echoed by some who argue China could reach its zenith before achieving full superpower status, with Tufts University's Michael Beckley labeling it a peaking power. Xi's confidence seems rooted in policies that emphasize the Chinese Communist Party's control and direct investment in sectors like electric vehicles and semiconductors, aiming to secure China's ascendancy. Beckley interprets the leadership's approach as a strategic shift towards gaining more significant influence on the global stage, despite slower growth, by dominating critical economic sectors. Berkeley asserted that the guiding principle of the Chinese leadership appears to be, while our growth rate might not match previous levels, we aim to wield greater influence over trading partners by strategically controlling critical aspects of the global economy. In contrast, Nadege Roland, a researcher at the American think tank, the National Bureau of Asian Research, NBR, highlighted, Chinese authorities currently perceive technology as the panacea for all their challenges, be it economic, environmental, demographic, or societal. Failing to make substantial progress in this realm would pose significant difficulties for them. Consequently, several economists argue that China's trajectory hinges on whether Xi Jinping's emphasis on technology yields dividends. Nevertheless, advancements in sectors like electric vehicles remain insufficient to counterbalance the dwindling consumer confidence and the financial strain stemming from indebted developers and local governments. Moreover, China's aspirations to gain from shifts in industrial sectors are being curtailed by increased protectionist measures from the United States, Japan, and Europe, reacting to China's forceful market strategies. Zhu Feng, a foreign policy expert at Nanjing University, pointed out in an interview that the surge in China's electric vehicle exports, fueled by significant government subsidies, may intensify trade tensions, representing the gravest challenge since the period of reform and opening up in terms of economic and diplomatic strain. The South China Morning Post on the 6th highlighted that the widening economic gap between the U.S. and China, aggravated by U.S.-led controls on technology, escalating geopolitical rivalries, and trade conflicts, might advantage Washington. Fu Weigang, executive dean of the Shanghai Institute of Finance and Law, suggests that to counter the increasing GDP disparity, Beijing needs to stimulate economic growth. This necessity implies that in negotiations over investment attraction or other trade and economic matters with the U.S. and other leading nations, Beijing might discover it is at a disadvantage. James Zimmerman, a former chair of the American Chamber of Commerce in China and a partner at the Beijing office of Perkins Coie law firm, critiqued Beijing for its failure or reluctance to implement necessary reforms to address the current economic challenges. He cautioned that maintaining the status quo would only exacerbate issues, concluding, if Beijing persists in its current approach, China will never overtake the U.S. and the situation may deteriorate further. Mainland epidemic heats up again, CCP launches urban wastewater COVID-19 testing training. Recently, the new coronavirus has experienced a widespread resurgence across mainland China, leading to an influx of shared personal accounts and observations online. On March 11, the WeChat index for low-grade fever skyrocketed, yet the full extent of the outbreak remains obscured by the Chinese government, keeping the global community in the dark. In response, on February 29, China's CDC has launched training programs for COVID-19 detection in urban wastewater, placing a particular focus on the criticality of data security. This session drew participants from CDCs at the provincial level and the Xinjiang Production and Construction Corps. Led by Lu Yu, director of the Environmental Institute's IT department, the training underscored the paramount importance of cybersecurity and data security, urging adherence to stringent data handling and reporting protocols. Last year's intensification of the epidemic saw numerous online reports of hospitals declining the new coronavirus testing, allegedly under government orders, prompting speculation that the Chinese government might be masking the true extent of the new coronavirus cases with diagnoses like mycoplasma pneumonia or influenza. The recent resurgence has catapulted symptoms like fever and cough to the forefront of online discussion, evidenced by a dramatic spike in the low-grade fever WeChat index by over 50 times on March 11. Numerous individuals are turning to social media to share their concerning experiences, highlighting, "It's crucial for everyone to look after their health. Something inexplicable is happening in Shanghai, my entire family is down with it. I've been feeling increasingly ill over the last few days. Just recently, I learned that a collaborative event our company was involved in has been called off due to school quarantines." Others are echoing similar sentiments. The new coronavirus is making rounds in Hong Kong and Guangdong again, with even live streamers constantly clearing their throats. Publicly available information on the WeChat index shows it as a tool aggregating search and browsing activities on WeChat, using massive cloud data analytics to monitor and display the fluctuation in keyword searches over different periods. This index serves as a gauge for what's trending on WeChat, indicating the frequency of searches and discussions. The epidemic saw a resurgence during the CCP's 2 sessions, affecting individuals across all age groups, particularly those in poorer health, potentially leading to fatal outcomes. Mr. Liu from Beijing shared with NTD his observations of widespread fevers, colds, and severe pneumonia cases, contributing to a growing sense of panic. Cases of pneumonia and white lung are on the rise, with no effective treatment available. Most of the sudden deaths are occurring in older individuals. Knowing about 7 or 8 cases among people around 60, everyone's too scared to step out. The challenging economic conditions and fear of contracting the virus in Beijing have prompted many to consider returning to their hometowns. As previously reported, the CCP is not only concealing the current outbreak but also actively destroying previous epidemic records. Reports from NTD reveal that local governments were informally instructed 6 months ago to eliminate all paper documents related to COVID-19 prevention efforts, including vaccination and nucleic acid testing records, as well as any other anti-epidemic documentation. Mr. Liu from Hebei disclosed that the volume of documents destroyed reached 11 truckloads. Don't forget to leave a comment in the section below to share your opinions on today's topic with us. Make sure to like and subscribe to see more interesting topics from China Truths.